Hi, everybody. This is Dave Neufeld for the Best Buy Canada blog, and today I have the pleasure of taking a look at the Xbox One Elite Series 2 wireless controller. Aesthetically, this is an impressive controller right out of the box. It has a really nice weight to it, obviously, in part to the fact that it has an internal battery, but also because of the quality of the components that make it up. It really just has a nice heft to it. And I know, of course, that weight isn't always inherently tied to quality, but to be honest, it just feels good. So I do think there really is something to that. It has a really sleek appearance as well with the black color, and as you'll notice, the buttons, the letter buttons also just have a gray on black tone. They eliminate the color from those, and it just gives it kind of an overall refined and sleek look. Of course, in addition to that, we have the textured grips on the sides and the trigger buttons as well. And they add an extra element of quality to the controller as well. They just, they feel really good. They make the controller feel better in your hands. They make it slip less. They give you a bit more traction. But overall, compared to the traditional hard plastic of a regular gamepad controller, it just gives the Elite Series 2 a little bit of an edge as far as design and aesthetic go. Now, of course, design and appearance and aesthetic are all fine and good, but what we're really looking for in the Xbox Series 2 Elite controller is performance and customization, and that's where it really shines. As you can see, it's got all kinds of features that can be tweaked and substituted not only to suit your personal taste, but to give you an edge in competitive gaming as well. First off, you'll notice that I was able to switch out of the thumbsticks and the D-pad. It actually comes with a set of 6 thumbsticks, including 2 standard, 2 classic, a tall, and a wide dome, which you can mix and match and play around with as you please. And then for the D-pad, there was a traditional D-pad as well as a faceted one, and to be honest, both are great. Either option is probably better than any other D-pad on a standard controller currently available. Even more impressive, though, is the fact that the Xbox One Elite Series 2 comes with an adjustment tool that you can actually use to modify the tension of the thumbsticks. Means you can kind of play around with them and make them a little looser, a little tighter, just depending on your own personal preference or whatever sort of tension best suits the kind of game that you're playing at the time. Of course, the rear paddle buttons are a interesting feature as well. They rest on the back of the controller and actually give additional inputs where you would normally, your fingers would probably be resting on the back of the controller, but with the Elite Series 2, you can use those paddle buttons for additional inputs. Now, by default, they are mapped to A, B, X, and Y, and it gives you a really great advantage, especially in games like you can see I'm playing a bit of Gears of War 5 here. And when I'm able to use one of those rear paddles to make commands that would normally be mapped to X or Y, such as, giving my drone a command or changing my cover, I can do that without having to move the right thumb over to one of those buttons. I can do it on one of the rear paddle buttons while still keeping my thumb on the right joysticks. That just gives a idea of the edge in competition that you can get with some of these features of the Elite Series 2. And of course, another great feature is the hair trigger locks. They sit on the back of the controller where you can actually adjust how far down you have to press the trigger button, the LT or the RT button, in order to register an input. So the great thing about this is you can set them to be really, really sensitive, really short, so that it just takes a very light amount of pressure to cause the input to register and for the trigger to go off, and that can give you an advantage in games where you want to be able to fire fast. So that can be set independently also for each the right trigger and the left trigger button. And of course, if you download the Xbox Accessories app, you can even program different custom button mappings. The controller supports its standard mapping and up to three more, which you can kind of easily toggle using a button on the front of the controller. So that can be great if, say, you're playing different games and you want a different control scheme for each game. You can see here I'm playing some of the Outer Worlds, and maybe I want a slightly different scheme than that which I was using for Gears of War 5. So that's a great option where you can save custom mappings and have unique control layouts specifically tuned to each game that you play. The battery life for the Elite Series 2 is excellent as well. Microsoft says that the battery can last upwards of 40 hours. I don't think I ever made it that long without utilizing the charging dock, but I did definitely have some extensive playtime in between charges and never had any issues. So I'm definitely impressed. I think that the life of the battery is certainly longer than I would ever go without charging the controller, especially because it does come with a fantastic dock as well that's very easy to use. So overall, I definitely have to say that the Xbox One Elite Series 2 wireless controller lives up to its name. It's certainly in the upper echelon, if not in a category all its own for a premium controller. It does have a bit of a hefty price tag that comes along with it, but in my opinion, after experiencing all of the amenities it has to offer, I do think it justifies its asking price. And of course, you can take into account that Microsoft has confirmed that this controller will be compatible with the next Xbox. So, if you're worried about the impending end of this console generation, you can know that this would be an investment that you definitely can carry over, both in Windows PC and into the next generation of consoles. That's all I have for today, so until next time, be sure to check out the Best Buy blog for all the latest in games and technology. Bye.